in the squadron. They called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Economic catastrophe. If you kept this going, that could have happened.
You could have had economic catastrophe. Where? Actually, that's one question mark I have. Was he talking about us or was he talking about them, the Iranians? Maybe both. I didn't sense economic catastrophe. However, if, let's say, something crazy happened and, I don't know, maybe if that Strait of Hormuz was permanently closed and, you know, they have ways of doing that, could that, I don't know. I already know that Iran was in total economic catastrophe, and I know that President Trump has a big heart. He wanted to stop their nuclear. We know now, clearly, there is no nuclear there. There is no nuclear. You can't trust the Iranians. I don't trust the Iranians. I don't trust anybody. We just trust what they do, what they don't do. Will the devil be in the details? I actually don't think that. Think it's going to come to that. It's the broader understanding. You know, you pay a bill on time, you don't do this, or we do that. And what do? We bomb the hell out of you. It's just a pretty straightforward thing. If you guys dare, we'll just, hey, we still have bombs. We still have our weapon systems. We're not withdrawing from the Persian Gulf. I heard a lot of guys on cable news saying, well, how dare they tell us what to do with our military? We have bases all throughout the Persian Gulf. They're staying there. We have basically a third of our Navy headquartered right there in the Persian Gulf. Bahrain, that's a fleet command right there. What else do we have? We got a great big air base in Saudi Arabia. We got facilities in the UAE, Dubai, Kuwait, Iraq. And we got all these countries on our side. And all these countries are poised to actually invest in Iran, a non-nuclear Iran. I don't have any issue with that whatsoever. I think it's actually pretty cool. Listen to this. Cut 5, if you don't mind. Cut 5.
So they'll work closely with us to turn over the so-called enriched material that's very deep in the bowels of the earth. Very deep. Nobody can get it. So it's not important that we do it quickly, but we could do it fairly quickly. When we have a chance, we'll do it. But in the meantime, we have cameras on every inch of it. Nobody can do it. And if they do, we'll hit them with Patriots. That's all. And they'll be gone. And they know that.
We'll hit them with Patriots. Here's another one. We got those B-2s just humming in the garage in Whiteman Air Force Base, Missouri. We may have to split those things up, by the way. You know, after the close call with the drones at the White House, I don't know. I think we should possibly not publicize certain things. Certain things have to be not as widely known. Still got to be a transparent society, but I don't know if we have to announce plans way ahead of time. If you don't mind, let's go with cut 4.
It's a memorandum of understanding. If it doesn't get done in 60 days, that's all right. We go back to bombing. You know, I don't want to do that because it's so good. But we might have to because we're never going to let them have a nuclear weapon. But they've agreed not to, and you'll see that very clearly in the agreement.
Okay. Questions? Let's actually go to J.D. Vance, who had a couple, he spoke for a good chunk of time today, outlining all the ins and outs of this deal. A very robust defense, Carlos, you got my J.D. Vance? I gave them to Justin. He's got them all fired up, ready to go. J.D. Vance, you know, there's been some concern is he going to take the fall if this thing goes south? That is such a fake game. This war is, according to the polls, unpopular. But according to me, it's not on the mind of too many people. People never bring this up in conversation. They almost nobody. I talk about it. I'm curious about it. It's wild. Actually, a huge gap between what you hear on the media and what's on their minds. Yeah, the economy, sure, always on our mind. I can't remember any time in my life when there wasn't grumbling about the economy, right? Whether it's from the media, nobody ever feels totally secure when it comes to money. Nobody. Rich, poor, middle class, upper, lower, nobody. But that's a concern. We're just built that way. All right, go ahead with J.D. Vance, please.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Nothing to talk about. Slow news day here in Washington, D.C. So let me just say a couple of things off the bat. First of all, I think the president's peace plan in Iran is already bearing real fruits for the American people. Last night, 12.5 million barrels of oil went through the Strait of Hormuz. That is a high since the beginning of the conflict. Oil prices are down nearly at their level from the pre-war conflict. Gas prices dropped below $4 a gallon today for the first time since the conflict. And importantly, they're going to keep falling further given how low oil prices are. On the military side, the Iranians, for the second night in a row, did not shoot at any ships in the Strait of Hormuz. So far, they are honoring their end of the commitment. And on the blockade, CENTCOM has allowed north of a dozen ships to go through our naval blockade, and so we're also honoring our end of the early part of the agreement.
Not bad, right? I want it done. I want it done. Israel, we're not going to destroy this country. We're not going to destroy Iran. We like the people there. We hate the regime. We changed the regime. We hate their nuclear. We got rid of their nuclear. You have to let them have some conventional, otherwise you incentivize them to seek the nuclear. This is, I can't imagine. You want the bombing to continue? What do you want to bomb? And yeah, we do have a problem with our supply of bombs. We only have so much of those damn things. And they take a long time to build. All right, that's a factor here. It's a little one, but it's not an insignificant one. Keep going, please.
Well, before the MOU was signed. That's not a reflection on the MOU. That's a reflection of why we need the MOU to ensure that we have the regional peace and stability that we need. Now, what I would say to some of the critics of the deal that I've heard that will say, well, Iran's going to get all this benefit. I'll repeat what I've said, and I'm probably going to have to repeat it a number of times, is what is the benefit that the Iranians get that they didn't have before? And the answer is nothing. They don't get anything unless they change their behavior. If they change their behavior, that is a thing to celebrate. That's going to transform the Middle East for a generation. If they don't change their behavior, they don't get the benefit of the bargain. And I think, I got to be honest, I think fundamentally this idea that, and it's a misrepresentation of the MOU, this idea that the Iranians get all these benefits before the deal is actually consummated. The idea that they get benefits before they change their behavior is fundamentally a talking point that is issued by people who want the conflict to continue indefinitely, despite the fact that that's not good for the American people and it's not good for the region. Way in the back.
I've never wanted it to go on indefinitely. Did you? No, it can't. It can't. We achieved our objectives. That's another reason why. Our military is effective. We get results. It's not just duration, it's effectiveness, quality over quantity sometimes. Give me a little bit more. J.D. Vance, who, wow, he's really a superstar. Keep going.
Go ahead. After you.
I'll give the short version. All right. He says he welcomes the agreement between the U.S. and Iran. He says it hopes it will help strengthen mutual trust, security, and stability in the Middle East. And he also hopes that it's truly a solution to the war and that the war is really over. What do you say to the Pope, sir?
My response to that is praise Jesus. I'm glad that the Pope has positive things to say about our MOU. I think that the Pope is fundamentally accurate, and it's going to be good for the entire world. But we got to keep working at it to make sure that the Iranians honor the commitments that they've made. And then-
all right. Questions? It looks simple, and I have this damn thing in front of me. It is clear, kind of concrete language that everybody can understand. You look at that JCPOA, or you look at the NAFTA, NAFTA. You look at that stuff, and it's, what's the word? Arcane, esoteric, weirdo, advanced language, right? Not because they're so smart, no, but because they want to camouflage. They want to hide behind. And yes, they want wiggle room. And it gives them all kinds of ways. You don't need anything that complex. This will evolve into something probably more complex than the MOU, but it doesn't have to turn into a 400-page JCPOA. Next clip, please.
And that's the way the president has set up this deal and this negotiation.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Just a quick housekeeping question. Just think you answered in your topper, but did the 60-day period officially begin yesterday?
I would say the 60-day period officially started today. It was signed late, and it may have even been signed technically because of the time shift, I think it's signed technically today, Iran time. So, yes, the deal started yesterday. We're going to start the 60-day clock today. Go ahead.
Can you help us understand President Trump's shift on his stance for Iran's ballistic missile program? Initially, it was a key objective to dismantle it. Yesterday, he said it would only be fair if they had some, if the countries around Iran also had some. So when and why did that change? And will the final agreement have any restrictions on these missiles?
So we destroyed a substantial number of their ballistic missiles and their ballistic missile launchers themselves. It's not just the bullets, but it's the actual gun. And that's what we were extremely effective at in destroying during the last 3 months of the campaign. All the president said yesterday is that, of course, countries don't give up the right of self-defense. Israel doesn't give up the right of self-defense if Hezbollah fires rockets or drones at Israel. The Iranians don't give up the right of self-defense in their country. But we do expect that as part of the final deal, they are not going to be able to build the kind of missiles that can broadly threaten the entire world. And that's what the President of the United States said yesterday. And look, I mean, it's very simple. You can't tell a country, whether Israel or Iran, they're not allowed to have any self-defense. That's not what the President has asked. That's not what the President has requested. But as part of the final deal, what we want to see is Iran not funding regional instability, funding regional terrorism, and of course trying to rebuild their nuclear weapons program. That's the main thing. The nuclear weapons program is destroyed. It is gone. If the Iranians decided tomorrow to build a nuclear weapon, they simply don't have the capacity in order to do that. What we're trying to ensure is they don't rebuild that capacity, not just a year from now, 2 years from now, but many, many years from now, so that our children never have to worry about a state sponsor of terrorism having a nuclear weapon.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. You were just saying that...
hold on a second. It's so fitting right now that they are going through the details of this arrangement. And this took a lot of hard work. This took a lot of guts. This took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, literally. People died to make this damn thing happen, to denuclearize, hopefully forever, Iran. So you got J.D. Vance, you got President Trump, a little bit red in the face, just making this stuff happen. And at the same time, split screen, we got who is that? Who's that guy? Is that Common? Which rap guy is that on stage? Common. Huh. How about that? Common. What kind of name is that anyway for a rap guy? He's at the Obama Library opening. And it's so perfect. It was all about Obama and his prestige and watching him get stuff more and more and more. And they're performing. They're having a great big jamboree at the opening of the Barack Obama Presidential Center. If only he started something that people could use, like Black Kids in the Hood, right? I always said that if he started the Barack Obama Center for Nonviolence, Understanding, and Helping throughout the inner city, throughout all the country, that could possibly do some of the things he said he would do for black boys when he was president. Help them. Instead, it was, look at me, and you too maybe could be me, but no, you can't actually. He didn't lift a damn finger to help them. Why? Because he self-doubted him when it came to his own racial credential, right? Am I really black enough? Am I black enough to tell black people what's wrong with them? And the answer was no. He didn't feel comfortable doing that. People in the hood would openly question his blackness. Is he even black? Is he even black? Is he even black? Now, I say it in that voice because Barack Obama, in his own audiobook, put on that same voice from time to time. You've seen him do it before, right? Certain crowds, he talks like this. And then he talks like this, right? Because he's all weird about it. He wrote 14 books, navel-gazing, and trying to figure out his race. And meanwhile, black children die and continue to die. Have you seen these teen takeovers? You notice a common thread, common in the teen takeovers? So then it falls to people like me. Because you'd be surprised, people of wealth and influence and prestige and corporate America, they're afraid. They're afraid to say the truth out loud. Oh, no, somebody could say something about me. Well, what do you want? Somebody to say something about you, or for more children to die, especially children of color? Be right back.
This episode is brought to you by Starbucks.
That is fire. Whoa, that's good.
This might be the drink of the summer.
Okay, I like this one too. I'm rocking with it. Okay.
Try it for yourself. Starbucks Refreshers concentrates are coming home. Find them in the coffee aisle and make it yours.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I'm looking at City Hall right now, and the Knicks are up there on stage. I think they're Knicks. I can't recognize one of them. They're all wearing wild clothes, sunglasses, and hats. I can't tell anybody from anybody. Now, one guy's up there without a shirt on. You know, you can go back and look at 1973. They had the same thing, City Hall. And I know that one of the players, I think it was Willis or Wilson Reed. Great picture of him. He's wearing a suit and tie. You know, this is a little bit, I don't know. You're going to you're going to go downtown. You're going to get a key to the city. You're going to participate in a ceremony. And you look, it doesn't look right. It just doesn't look right to me. It's an indication that we are kind of coming apart at the seams. I really do. I think we've been coming apart at the seams, don't you? It's just, wow. All right, great. Congratulations. You won. You know, part of going downtown to City Hall was dressing up. Remember? You dress up to meet the mayor. I'll take you inside to meet the mayor. Remember when Jackie Gleason and Ed Norton had that big fight? They were wearing the same jacket. They were wearing the same jacket to go meet the mayor when Ralph got that safety award. And they had a big fight. They almost, but they came to terms and they found different jackets or whatever. And then Trixie and Alice got into it because they were wearing the same dress. And the solution was Trixie wore a coat and everybody was good. And quite frankly, it was Cramden's award. And I think that Norton should have cooperated a bit more readily. But now we have this. I don't know what the hell that is. And what are politicians doing there? And Julie Menin, the city council speaker. Like, what do you have to do with basketball? Anyway, we also got guys jumping up and down on cop cars. Knicks fans, quote-unquote fans, jumping up and down on abandoned cop cars.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
So there she is, Michelle Obama. They were talking about her Sunday night, wondering about her gender. I don't wonder about her gender. I do believe that she is a woman. She's a she. And that whole conspiracy theory. Hey, I'm always, conspiracy theories often turn out to be, the truth in advance. But no, that's a woman. And the big thing, I've basically debunked it a million different times. I can tell. I can just tell. A man knows. But the whole thing about her not being photographed when she was pregnant in the 90s, we didn't take pictures like we do today. All right. Hey, here's something a little bit sad. Malia Obama does not look so good. Right. I mean, I'm sure she looks cool. Her friends like the way she looks, but she's got great big, gigantic, what's the word? Dreadlocks. And, dreadlocks that can be fine, but they're like big and long. And I don't know. I just think it's way too long. She doesn't look clean, to be honest. Looks like she needs I don't know, 20. It looks like she's a big pot smoker to me. It looks like she's smoking weed. That's a little bit. And I remember just watching these kids. I was so impressed, like everybody else. I bought the package, but that's all it is a package. Let's go right now. This is what is she angry about now? Is this one of those brief shining moments where she likes America? I wonder. She's speaking at the opening of the, oh, wow. Barack is not having it. Barack looks bored. He really does look bored and actually a bit annoyed. What the hell's on his mind? Why is he so, right? Doesn't he look like a jerk? Did you see that? Tell you what, he was really very well dressed. Like, I can tell. I can also tell that man is wearing about $40,000 worth of clothes right there. Turn up the volume, please. Michelle Obama at the Barack Obama Library open.
Day, millions of people in this country wake up doing their very best to live decent and purposeful lives.
What insight.
We're all tested in one way or another. And there are plenty of times we all fall short. But deep down in our hearts and souls, we all know right from wrong. We know selflessness from greed.
Oh, she's such a...
Righteousness from injustice.
This is a takedown of Trump, huh?
Rise and fall together.
What does that even mean?
Every last one of us is an invaluable contributor to the greatness of America.
Looks like you're a bit more valuable given your husband's clothes.
The workers living paycheck to paycheck, hoping to give their kids a better future.
What do you know about them?
The teachers using their own money.
I thought she was going to say union. Teachers using union.
The business owners struggling to meet payroll but refusing to close their doors. All those folks sweating over stoves to provide meals for their communities. Folks shivering in the freezing cold to deliver our packages. Picking up trash to keep our parks clean. Volunteers dedicating their weekends to coaching T-ball or directing the church choir.
T-ball doesn't seem to be a thing anymore.
Or mentoring a child. That's where the truth of this country lies. Not in grabbing as much as we can get for ourselves or knocking folks down to prop ourselves up.
This is really something coming from her. She hasn't been on a commercial jet in 20 years. This is also something coming from her. How many dwellings did the Obamas have? 3 that I know of. I know they have at least 3, and I know they also have more than that. They have something in Europe, and they also have something in Africa. So they've got Martha's Vineyard, they've got Chicago, they've got Hawaii. They got 3 mansions. How many mansions do you have? Listen to her, equality. Go. Now, what is up with the husband? Carlos, have you noticed the husband? He looks annoyed, doesn't he? Kinda? No, all right. You're not watching. That's okay. But granted, you have to go like this and put your head out to see the TV. I'm looking at her right there. Hey, you know what she's wearing? A racist suit. That's seersucker. That's what the Southern racists used to wear. Remember that? That is colonial. That is a racist suit. Remember that whole thing during Black Lives Matter when they came out with everything is racist? All right, just a few more seconds because it amuses me.
Like their loved ones in uniform. The Native kids showing us that resilience and pride can never be stolen.
Huh?
The 4-H'ers and FFA members with calluses on their hands from feeding livestock. The immigrants.
I was in the 4-H club. We didn't do that.
What it truly means to be a dreamer. These folks aren't Americans too. They are America. They are the beating heart of this country.
This is the straw man argument.
Us, and we are them. And to ignore this simple truth, to refuse to respect the contributions and experiences of people who aren't exactly like us.
No. Illegal. That's the illegal. We don't like the illegal exactly like us. You know, it's almost like the Southern Poverty Law Center. You build this thing up, you pretend it's racism, and then you complain about the racism. And in some point, what they were doing is paying the racists to be racists so they can actually have something to complain about. That's kind of what's part of this whole thing. Gosh, and she's literally going like this with her finger. She's actually literally kind of like wagging her finger at the crowd. Somebody made a mistake a very long time ago and told her that she's a good speaker. And it went straight to her head. The other thing, we have reports from downtown where the Knicks fans some are being nice and others are being crazy like they were at Times Square. And the Times Square, when they burned those buses, that was covered up, not talked about. Only us conservatives called attention to it. And it's happening again. Listen to this. This is a great big mob, a throng of teens, perhaps. I don't know how old they are. Jumping up and down on cop cars. Jumping up and down on abandoned cop cars in the middle of New York City in the middle of the day. Go ahead. Yeah.
Come here. Nick is live! Let's go! Let's go! I'll beat that out! Let's go!
Jumping up and down on the cop car. Where are the cops? What happened to the cops inside that cop car?
Let him down! Like, what was the purpose of that?
And this is like normal? This is like okay? No, it's not. This is worse than January 6th. Because it's real. January 6th was fake. We also have a January 6th in progress in Minneapolis. ICE headquarters. Did you see this? Antifa showed up at ICE headquarters. They want to get this thing going again for the midterms, right? So they're out. They're being paid and they're out in force trying to antagonize ICE agents. And they are. You know, I don't know what the answer is. I mean, you have to put down violence. I hope everybody can figure out that these are paid outside agitators. Big money is involved. In the middle of the day, people have things to do. These guys are making money. Go ahead, please. Trying to enter ICE headquarters. The heroic ICE agents are pushing them back. Sometimes using those dust guns. Well, it's a bit more intense than it sounds. But it looked like, you know what? Looked like they were close to needing federal troops to secure that federal facility. And that would have been totally legitimate. The other thing, maybe they thought about that at the White House. Did you hear that? Okay. Hey, do me a favor. Let's call Blaine Holt. Blaine Holt is available for us. Yeah, I got his number. I do want an expert's take on this Iran nuclear situation. Everything I know tells me it's a good deal. Everything I look at in this thing, there are a few legitimate questions, and we'll bring those up with Blaine. But I already talked to him last night. He likes this thing. The one thing that I don't like is Section 8, where it says, the Islamic Republic of Iran reaffirms that it shall not procure or develop nuclear weapons. That sounds like possibly the best line in the thing. But the thing I don't like is that word reaffirms, because they've said that before. And now it's the Iranians saying we're saying it again. General Blaine Holt, who told us when this war would start, who's been guiding us every step of the way. Welcome back, General. You like this MOU? You like this thing?
Yeah, we're off to a great start. We're not out of the woods, but boy, this could really change the way things are in the Middle East forever in a very good way, very positive way.
Let me just go to that line I just said. The Islamic Republic of Iran reaffirms that it shall not procure or develop nuclear weapons. This is the one thing that I picked up. I don't like the word reaffirms because it suggests, well, it says that, yeah, we've been saying this all along, which they have. I want them to get rid of the RE. It should just say affirms, or it should just say pledges, because otherwise it's like, yeah, you see, we're just saying what we've always said. That's not a small thing in diplomacy speak, right?
It's not a small thing, but then let's look at a bigger thing. This is an MOU. This is a point of embarkation to open up the straits, get the world economy moving, and then finalize what the technical details are going to be. And so, look, they've saddled themselves to the MOU. We've got a point of direction to go off of. And the ones negotiating this may not be the ones negotiating the final terms, because I estimate that in the next 60 to 90 days, you're going to see power structures in Iran shifting back and forth. Maybe the IRGC comes off the table. Maybe even a pluralistic Iran goes into parliamentary seats. I just think you're going to see a lot of evolving coming out of this MOU. But the contours of it and the framing of it look very, very interesting to me. And I understand where the president's going. It looks like it could work out very well.
Let me ask you this. It looks like this is telling Israel to do certain things. And we're saying that, the war with Hezbollah is also over. How do we get them to do that when they're not a signatory to this thing? And Israel's already saying, we want no part of this.
Well, they're furious, and they're going to really have to examine how furious they are, because the United States has the lead role in the region right now at the request of Israel. and they enjoy many of our resources. And I see the war of words going back and forth. But as you well know in international politics, those words normally mean nothing once everybody sits down and is a little bit more pragmatic. In other words, Israel has the right to defend itself. Nobody's denying that. It's the strategy and tactics used. And so if you've got some drones attacking from that buffer zone in southern Lebanon, we'll go get them. But don't be throwing missiles at civilian buildings in downtown Beirut. If they do continue to do that and they don't want to work with the president, well, then the president's going to take up a very, very different direction, one that the Israelis probably won't like. And when I say Israel, I mean the Likud government right now, because they're all arguing amongst themselves about what is the best posture with the United States. Well, throwing rocks at a president that you asked to solve the problem is not a good idea. And since we're not going to have a nuclear war in the Middle East, maybe just a simple thank you will do.
Yeah. What do they like? What would, if they were running America right now? And some people, I'm not alluding to that. That came out by accident. I mean, there are conspiracy theorists out there who think that's true. I do not think that's true, and I actually think it's there's an underlying anti-Semitism when people push that idea. But what would they have us do? Like, what do they have in mind? I mean, this thing has got to end, I would think. What do they want?
You've got competing visions. I think that the Israelis, in the state of Israel, has viewed Iran as an existential threat. But is it such an existential threat that you need to erase the country of Iran and everything in its path around it? Or is it just the government of Iran that's been the problem? And this is where you start to get strategic vision divergence. And I think that Iran had, starting last year when we sent the B-2s over, Iran probably had a very different vision, a much more aggressive vision about what to do. Israel had a more aggressive vision about what to do with Iran. And that's fine, but the United States is not about, look, they're allies, and they're going to be allies this time next year and the year after that, and that's wonderful. But what happens is when we are in an alliance situation, just like with NATO, you saw the president walk into the G7 and say, I'm the boss. Well, he does that at NATO too, and he means it. And what he means is America will be asserting itself here because we're the ones bringing the resources and we're the ones bringing what's required to solve the problem.
Wow. Yeah. And look, America is always the leader, but more so with Trump. Why did he say? What is he getting at? Why did he want to say that? What was that moment all about? I'm the boss. I watched the video. At first, I missed it. It wasn't that loud when he said it. You couldn't hear it. But he said to all the G7 when he walked in the room, "I'm the boss." I mean, what's he saying other than "I'm the boss"?
He already told them that, and they know it. But he did it for the cameras because he's sending that to all the European populations that I'll be taking control here. People should not separate the Iran crisis from the president's visit to the G7, because what did Europe and Lloyd's of London do? They tried to shut the president down. They tried to be an impediment every step of the way. And now he shows up with this problem on its way to being solved, looking at them for failing to follow his leadership in the Ukraine-Russia contest and essentially punching them in the chest, saying, I am in charge here. And one way or another, you are going to follow United States leadership because you've made a hash of things. And you can be offended by that, but that's the way it is, unless you don't want us to pay 75% of all the receipts at NATO anymore, which we're very happy to do.
Wow. All right. And what is your take? Look, here's some of our favorite conservatives. Here's what they're saying. Cut, some. Only. I like Mark Levin. I like Ted Cruz most of the time. I can't stand Mike Pence, but listen to this. Cut 10, please. Cut 10.
This deal won't stand. It won't stand for long, even during the Trump presidency. Israel will not be able to adhere to what would be a suicide pact. The Israeli people won't put up with it. The prime minister won't put up with it. We should not accept it either.
Now, I don't want to see theocratic Islamists who want to kill us made stronger. So if this deal is giving them $300 billion, that's a mistake.
I believe it smacks of the kind of appeasement that we saw during the Obama years, the kind of appeasement that Joe Biden tried to accomplish.
So there is pushback. What do you think of the pushback, and how loud is it going to get?
I keep going to that line in Ron Burgundy where he's sitting back with a beer going, wow, that escalated quickly. Look, they don't like the terms of the deal because they're failing to recognize that the balance of power in the region is fundamentally shifted out of Iran's hands. They're not taking stock of the fact of all the achievements that have happened in this last 90-day campaign, which is they've lost almost every bit of their military. The mullahs and the ayatollahs are gone. They're willing to give up nuclear weapons. They can't pursue that anymore anyway because they're essentially broke. Food and water are a real big deal in Iran, not other things. And so it's not the same as it was. So now what do we have to do? We have to strangle and cut off the supply chains and money to these remaining proxies, make them go away, and we need to pursue this deal. The $300 billion that they're hand-wringing about, these guys are all embarrassing themselves. They don't understand what investment banking is and how that can work for you. So if the lead investment banks of the Middle East, SABIC in Saudi Arabia and Mubadala in Dubai, come with sacks of cash when Iran behaves itself and they invest in infrastructure projects that restore that country, well, they're going to be entangled economically, and we're going to have eyeballs all over the place all the time. So welcome to the international community. This is what that looks like.
Blaine Holt, you understand it all. We so appreciate it. Thank you, sir. The retired general from the U.S. Air Force, master strategist. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
All right, to be continued. 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. Are we wrong about this Iran deal? I don't think so. We'll be right back.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
You know, there was a time when I was actually a fan of Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart was kind of a counter-culturalist. He was very skeptical of politicians, and he wasn't crazy about the Iraq War. I'm talking about him 20 years ago. He was very insightful and clever and funny. And now he's just a vulgar thug. I come up on a show from time to time. I don't care. I actually get a kick out of it, really. I don't. But, they made fun of you. I'm like, yeah, but it's like checking the weather for me. I do get a slight kick out of it, though. But this was just repugnant. All right, so I'm the guy they're talking about at the end there. You hear my voice. I took my brother to UFC. All right, what was I going to do? Take my grandmother, right? Take my mom to UFC, mixed martial arts. I took my brother. Listen to what he said about that. Cut 7, please. Cut 7.
Honestly, look, man, something happened that wasn't great. The night was marred by some violence. I mean, what would you guys on the right rather be watching?
The White House is getting ready to rumble with UFC.
Very excited to see this.
Epic day.
Hey, isn't that awesome? Fight night. Now, I'm actually personally looking forward to it very, very much. I have a ticket. +1. My brother. Got to tell you, I'm pumped. I feel like my life is going to change this weekend.
And then he says a horrible joke that we're going to bleep. It's so bad.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?